This is the Volvo Ocean Race, the story of a 45-year obsession. Sailing's iconic race around the world, the ultimate test of a team, and the place where elite sport meets human adventure. Achieving victory will mean dominating a 45,000 nautical mile race over 11 legs, taking in 12 host cities across 6 continents. 7 international teams are vying to add their name to the Volvo Ocean Race trophy. The race so far has been punishing, and at the end of leg 3, Spanish team Mafre cemented their position at the top of the leaderboard after winning 2 consecutive legs. Their arch-rivals Dongfeng Race Team were now trailing by 6 points, along with Vestas 11th Hour Racing. Leg 4 would be a welcome break from the Southern Ocean, but new challenges lay ahead. This leg would promise to be a strategic one. The Volvo Ocean Race fleet would head to Hong Kong, a new host city for the 2017-18 edition. The skippers are aware how complicated this route would be.
Leg 4 is a big leg. We go through all these island chains, we get trade wind sailing, we get monsoons, we get the doldrums.
For me it's an unknown water. You're crossing the equator, there's some cyclone action.
Even if you have a small advantage like we probably have with Mapfre in terms of speed and managing the boat, it can be useless on this leg because it's just about making good choice.
It can be monsoon, can be windy, can be light, can be downwind, upwind. So we have to be ready for everything.
It's going to be really tricky. It could be long, it's going to be really hot, a lot of variable conditions.
It's going to be a leg, I think, with plenty of opportunities, very tactical.
I think it's going to be as hard as the one before, for different reasons.
Everybody has a chance to win this leg. For me, it's a very stressful one.
Apart from Mafre, all the teams made crew changes because of rotation or external commitments. 19 in total, but some were due to the high attrition rate of injuries sustained in the Southern Ocean. Big names joining leg 4 included Brian Thompson stepping on board Turn the Tide on plastic, and one of France's most successful sailors joining Dongfeng Race Team, Volvo Ocean Race winner and America's Cup skipper Frank Camas, covering for navigator Pascal Bidigary. Melbourne was just a short stopover for all the crews, but for Team Axonobel, who finished 3 days later than the leading boats due to a broken mast, they had the shortest time ashore to prepare for the next leg. With a limited window of opportunity, the mast had to be removed, repaired and reinstalled by the dedicated Volvo Ocean Race boatyard and carbon fibre mast specialists. A tense time for the team, but on start day both the boat and the crew were ready to race.
I think this upcoming leg is going to be quite physical in the respect that there won't be regular watches, I think, if you're going through the doldrums, and we haven't really had doldrums yet.
We do that first half of the race well and really put the hammer down through that. It'd be nice for us for once to boom the rich getting richer.
As they docked out for the start line of leg 4, the pressure was on the trailing pack to reel in the leaders.
The Volvo Ocean Race fleet heads for the line. All bows going forward. Here comes the gun. We're off. It'll be attack here. It could be attack. All clear, Nikolai. All clear.
Hold trim.
Day 1, leg 4 of the Volvo Ocean Race 2017-2018 underway as the fleet says goodbye to Melbourne and hello to Hong Kong. Another 18 to 20 more days at sea.
From Melbourne, leg 4 totals 5,600 nautical miles. East around the coast of Australia, passing the Solomon Islands, back through the doldrums notorious for its fickle winds, into the South China Sea and on to Hong Kong. The first challenge for the crews was their battle through the Bass Straits between mainland Australia and Tasmania. Strong currents and a powerful breeze ensuring there was no gentle start to the leg. Within 48 hours, the 7 teams started to make different tactical moves. Dongfeng Race Team edged into the lead, closely followed by Team Axonobel and Turn the Tide on plastic.
The fleet split, we are two boats going, three boats actually, going offshore of the Australian coast, and the rest of the fleet is going inshore. We'll see, but the start was dynamic.
Vestas 11th Hour Racing and overall race leaders Mafre had opted for a different route.
We decided to go towards Sydney through the coast and the Exxon over to the Thailand top end. They went a little bit offshore and they formed more breeze, so they are ahead of us now, about 40 miles, and we're just working hard and boat speed to try to minimize the loss.
Team Brunel and Sun Hun Kai Scallywag had hedged their bets and placed themselves between the two groups. It was early days in the leg, but Scallywag's skipper David Witt was already reflecting on the choice of sailing with a full crew for the first time in the race.
100% easier, better on the people, quicker in the manoeuvres, and quite happy to be one of those people that put my hand up and say I was completely wrong trying to sail with less numbers. I think the small advantage in the weight thing is completely outweighed by the physicality on the boys and the girls.
Turn the Tide on Plastic continued to be in the mix with some of the more experienced teams.
We are in a match race now with Mafre and Vestas.
Intense but exciting. We're literally sandwiched between the two of them and hanging in there at the moment by the skin of our teeth, but we're with them.
As the fleet started to sail away from the mainland and head towards their first rounding mark, the Solomon Islands, all the boats started to converge. It was now a drag race.
We're still in the lead. We have Axo Nobel right on our heels, and they've been following our track quite nicely actually, just pretty much jiving in our line most of the time. Still a lot to come in this leg.
Team Brunel, who were back in 6th spot, were well aware of their performance challenges.
When we have these 20-25 knots of breeze, we're not going as well as the other boats are going. Just you've seen it in all the legs so far. I think when the breeze is a little higher, up to 30, we can hang in, but in the middle conditions, we just don't have the same pace as what the others have. It's a bit of an Achilles heel what we're having, and we haven't cured it yet.
Mafre were now charging their way towards the front of the pack with Vestas 11th Hour Racing in pursuit. Tactics playing a huge part in this leg.
This leg is quite different to the last one. Slightly more taxing mental challenge, I'd be fair to say. And it's quite interesting just coming up here, we're sort of working our way north, trying to get ourselves into the southeasterly trade winds and up towards the doldrums. But there is quite a lot of scope east-west that you can play, and yeah, it makes for quite an open racetrack.
Although the Coral Sea was immense, the open racetrack still had its obstacles.
The reef's actually twice the size of it is a Bentley drawing shaft, pretty much.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Team Sun Hun Kai Scallywag were heading towards a reef. Libby Greenhouse, who had joined the team as navigator to replace injured Antonio Fontes, was weighing up the options.
Just positioning of the reef on the chart versus paper chart, and quite noticeably different, quite different across a lot of the charts. Totally dropped the ball in that we've been looking at this for a long time, you know, which way round are we going to get around it? You know, and we've been actually holding for height, and in hindsight we should have just been going low and fast, and it would have been an easy way round for us. It's pretty frustrating.
It's sort of coming just on sunset as well, so we're not going to get much of a visual on the outlying reef. So unfortunately we just need to be a little bit more conservative and make sure we give it enough space to be safe.
The Hong Kong-based team were already last, but after doubling back to avoid the reef, they had bled a further 50 miles. As the leading boats got closer to the Solomon Islands, the weather became unsettled. It was the beginning of the infamous doldrums. The fleet compressed, hard-earned gains evaporated.
After leading the race for most of the time, all the boats are on the same line now, playing with Axo to leeward. And Mafre there, they catch up with the clouds this morning, a new start, so it's important.
Now we've been racing 4 days with Dongfeng, which is really good, and we learn a lot from it. And we're also in a good position because racing Dongfeng means we're also racing for the lead, so we're quite happy where we are right now.
As the wind became lighter and lighter, the cloud lottery began. It was a chance for the trailing boats to get back into the game. There were multiple lead changes over a 24-hour period. Turn the Tide on Plastic had edged their way ahead of the fleet and looked in a strong position. The team were last on the overall leaderboard, but for skipper Di Cafari, their performance was significant.
We've managed to hold our own, not like get a lucky break, but actually make the manoeuvres, sail in a straight line at the right boat speed and stay there. And I think this leg is going to change everyone's opinion of this team, regardless of where we finish, because we're only halfway through. But I think they'll start believing how I believed in the team.
One week into leg 4 of the Volvo Ocean Race, the entire fleet were in the doldrums. They were engulfed in a windless void.
And we've hit the doldrums.
Serious test of mental patience.
On board Vestas 11th Hour Racing, team director Mark Towell, who had stepped in for skipper Charlie Enright during leg 4, knew that all the fleet were in the same position.
3 boats right here, all a couple miles away. One more back here. It's unbelievably hot. The water is over 30 degrees and the air is, I think, 35. So we're all trying to find whatever shade we can and keep the boat moving. And
Do you want the jib back on the other side?
So hot, you have to put your shoes on to walk on deck. And we have a white deck.
I think the most frustrating for us last night was probably Exxon Nobel. They went from 2 miles behind us just before the cloud to what's now sort of 6 miles in front, but literally sailed about half a mile or a mile to leeward of us.
And the forecast was not good. The crews faced several hundred miles of next to no breeze.
We probably only have done, I don't know, under 100 miles in 24 hours.
At times, the natural wonders of the oceans, a welcome respite to lift the crew's spirits.
One of those really nice moments when you're reminded how lucky we are to be out here and out in nature and enjoying it, and yeah, these are the things you only really see when you're out here in the middle of the ocean.
Dongfeng race team, who had led for the first week, had dropped back. French sailing legend Frank Camas had skippered Groupama, the winning boat in the 2011-12 edition of the Volvo Ocean Race. Long-term friend Charles Caudrelier was one of his crew. Now Camas was back in his element.
5 years ago was a very great experience for us with the Groupama sailing team. I love this type of competition. I'm very happy to be back, to be with the team of Dongfeng also.
It's very difficult to find a navigator that you can trust like that, to jump on the boat. Was the experience of the Volvo. Frank has the experience of the Volvo, and we have been sailing together since 20 years, so he's the best guy I could find for me, and he was free.
We like and we are confident together, and this is important because the communication it's hard sometimes in this kind of project.
Frank is the kind of guy who always push hard and always want to win, and he never give up until the line.
All the teams looked at their options for an escape from the doldrums, but they had a dilemma. The most direct route to Hong Kong was towards the northwest, but there was next to no wind there. To gain access to the northeasterly trade winds that would hopefully catapult them to the finish line, they would have to head north and effectively sail away from their goal. All the crews knew it was a critical moment.
Leaving the doldrums first is always important because you connect to the northern trade winds. The boats in front, they have always more breeze for a period of time. We will try to exit here first. We're struggling, to be honest, but we will fight the whole way.
It was a crucial time, with almost all the fleet deciding that heading north would be best. Last place Sun Hung Kai Scallywag had another plan. They were 50 miles southwest and opted to stay where they were and point for Hong Kong, effectively cutting the corner. But it was a huge gamble.
It's a really important leg for us. You know, this will be catastrophic if we ran last, so everyone understands the situation we're in for this leg. It's the most important leg of the whole campaign, so we've got to make sure that we remain positive, and we can't worry about not running last. We need to concentrate on trying to win the leg.
As the remaining fleet pushed ahead and into more breeze, lead changes continued. Turn the Tide on Plastic lost their grip on the top spot. Others were feeling the pain too.
We have to deliver, we have to perform. We had 3 not so good legs. We worked hard, but we haven't had the results. And in sport, it doesn't matter what the cues are, if you're lucky or unlucky, if you have a bad day or whatever. you need to deliver results, and it's no different from in our world and in our team.
Days of having no wind at all started to be replaced with unsettled squalls. It looked like salvation was near.
Oh, we had a totally crazy night last night. A couple of really big clouds, splits in the fleet, reconvergence this morning. Luckily, we've come out on the good side of it. The best part is that we actually have some wind.
I think we are in a strong position. We should be the boat with more wind in the next few hours, so it's good. And we are going to catch a trade wind, and we hope that the forecast is good and we will be the first one.
Team AkzoNobel and Vestas 11th Hour Racing stuck with the Chinese team. Mafre turned the tide on plastic and Team Brunel were unlucky, handicapped by lighter airs and began to drop behind. Of the boats that had headed north to find the trade winds, none had imagined that Sun Hung Kai Scallywag's bold move would pay off, but they had now taken over as leaders. The Hong Kong-based team was storming towards their home port and were gaining ground. But just when everything seemed to be going so right, David Witt faced every skipper's nightmare.
Get ready to tackle the J2 sheet. He's run up. Keep going, sheet. He's main sheet. Yep.
Crew member Alex Go was washed overboard.
Can you see him best? Nipper, out of the way. Can you see him?
No, it must be here. I've got a ping in.
Go.
He might be below us.
Where? Okay, stand by attack. Stand by attack. On the runners, Warro, stay on the main engine. Now watch him, don't take your eyes off him. Yeah, that's not him. Up there. Okay, engine on. Engine on, he's swimming. Hold, just hold. No, hey, Tristan, on the transom. Show me the line, son. Show me the line. Let's go, Joey. Come to the boat. Give me that good stern, mate. Full throttle. Help. Hey, throttle, go. You line it. Starboard tap. Starboard runner on the line. Right. Okay, just get the boat set up and then go to the mow.
Yeah, I was just pretty stupid. Luckily the boys were onto it. Got me back on pretty quick, so yeah, credit to the lads. They turned around bloody quick.
You should, one, either be tethered on, or two, at a minimum, tell the driver what you're doing so he knows. I didn't do either of those. Went out on the other rigger I was driving, and we went off a big sea. Just picked the back up and just threw him off like off a horse, you know. And I think it just showed everyone how hard it is to actually see the guy in the water, even in Sunday, 18 knots and sunshine. You wouldn't want to be trying to do it in 20 knots in the dark. I don't think you'd find him,
But nice work, everyone. We're trying to find new ways to lose the race, though, I must say.
Sun Hung Kai Scallywag had lost valuable miles but retained their lead. Over the next 48 hours, all the fleet started to converge in a drag race and pointed at Hong Kong, all looking for passing places in the knowledge that time was slipping away.
That seems to be a bit more, complicated than expected. We line ourselves up more north, which paid off in the beginning, but now sort of we have to take the loss. Yeah, we're in the mode where we want to defend Mafre.
Team Brunel was still at the back of the fleet and locked in a duel with Turn the Tide on plastic, while trying to make gains on 5th placed Mafre. The team had struggled for speed the entire leg, but skipper Bauer Becking remained optimistic.
It's not only speed, it's still very decisive. How you gonna get around the Philippines? Do you cut the corner or do you take a little longer route? Because there's two options right now we can see on the models. and there's 6 hours difference. So 6 hours doing 20 knots is 120 miles. So that's a big difference.
On board Sun Hun Kai Scallywag, skipper David Witt was contemplating what could be. The team was the only privateer in the fleet.
I would give up all the World Championships I've won to win this leg into Hong Kong. It would mean that much to me. The amount of work that goes in to get these things off the ground and the amount of support and everything we've had from the boss, and I mean, it's just a long way to go. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but it'd be pretty special.
Approaching the Philippines, the entire fleet, apart from Mafre, went into stealth mode, cloaking their position in a strategic attempt to make gains.
We're approaching the Luzon Strait and entering the China Sea, and there's a lot of tactical options. There's a lot of islands around, wind shadows, current, a lot of factors to consider which could make a big difference in how the routing pans out. I've certainly spent a good few hours working in the nav station here, just trying to work out what the options are, trying to work out what the other's going to do, and you know, what's the best course of action for us.
All the teams opted to stay close to the mainland of the Philippines, taking advantage of tidal surges and wind as they weaved their way through the smaller islands. With all the boats now out of stealth mode, no real gains had been made. It was now a push towards the finish line. The last 24 hours was intense. Team Sun Hun Kai's Scallywag's 100-mile lead had been whittled down to less than 30 as they approached the finish line, but they were now untouchable. The familiar skyline a welcome relief for David Witt and his team. Victory was theirs after a roller coaster ride.
Scallywags never seem to do it the easy way, but the main thing is we get it done in the end, you know, and get to pick a leg to win. This is the one we wanted to win. This is what our whole program was about, and it's unreal.
Team Sun Hun Kai Scallywag had become the first Hong Kong flag team ever to win a leg of the Volvo Ocean Race. The victory even more special as the race made its debut visit to the historic city. Chinese entry Dongfeng race team secured second place, less than 3 hours behind the leaders.
Of course, we wanted to arrive first here, but it's a good news for us, and we are coming back on Mapfre, taking point. So I think it's a very good leg.
Team Axel Nobel claimed the final podium spot, their best result of the race so far.
The leg from Cape Town to Melbourne was tough, and we had a very short stopover there, and a lot of work had to be done, and we did it. For us, it was a great boost for the last 18 days, just to be fighting with the good guys and even to leave one of the top favourite teams from behind us.
Vestas 11th Hour Racing retired from the leg after they were involved in a tragic incident after a collision with a non-racing vessel during the night, 30 miles from the finish line. For the first time in the race, Mafre were off the podium, followed by Team Brunel and Turn the Tide on Plastic in 5th and 6th respectively. Mafre's 4th place still good enough to see them maintain their position as overall race leaders. Up next, the Volvo Ocean Race heads to Guangzhou to race in the Pearl River, the approach of one of China's most ancient cities, before heading south to the City of Sails, Auckland, New Zealand.